So, Sarah, let's talk about the military significance of this region so people know the area we're talking about here. We're talking about southern Ukraine. I can push in now specifically on the river. You can see the river flowing right here. This is the dam, and this is Kherson, that city in the south, now controlled by Ukraine. For a reference point, here's the nuclear power plant. It is upriver from the dam, which is why people don't think it is a major concern right now. But when you're talking about the military significance of this much more, you can see that the Dnipro River is literally the dividing line between Ukrainian-held territory and the Russian-occupied territory in the south. The Russians have been in Crimea for several years, and they've occupied this region in red now for a year. Joining me to talk about what all of this means, CNN military analyst, retired Air Force Colonel Cedric Layton. So, Cedric, this is the Russian-occupied territory here. This is where Ukraine is in control. How does this dam being destroyed, this region here being flooded in particular, how does that affect the counteroffensive that we all expect to be coming or maybe have already started from Ukraine?
Yeah, John, that's going to be a huge issue for both sides, actually. And as you heard in Sam's reporting, there's an impact on the Russian side as well. But for the Ukrainians, this is going to be big because they probably counted on being able to go across the Dnipro River, using amphibious vehicles so that they could actually go into the Russian-occupied areas of southern Ukraine. This makes it much more difficult to do, not impossible, but it's much more difficult to do this given the volume of water that's coming through this area and also the impact that it has on existing infrastructure such as bridges, roads, and the things that you would encounter in a normal military operation.
Yeah, this was, by the way, one of the major bridges from the Ukrainian-held territory into the Russian-held territory. That bridge is now very much gone and inoperable as well. You talked about what this means for the Russians, Cedric. I just want to point out, this is Crimea, where the Russians have occupied for some time. There was a canal also that connects that dam area with Crimea, a major source of water for the peninsula. So how does this impact the Russians?
So as far as the Russians are concerned, you're exactly right, John, in pointing out that the canal that supplies water to Crimea is a critical source for them. Once that supply is cut, that really makes it hard for them to sustain the civilian population in large parts of Crimea. It also means that the military piece is also, kind of tenuous at this point in Crimea as well for the Russians. And then the other thing that, of course, has to be considered is the impact on the Russian forces that are actually on the eastern bank or southern bank of the Dnipro River. And that, for them, it's going to be very tough because apparently they did not know that this was going to happen. And as a result of that, they're forced to abandon their positions. They're no longer in a position to hold back any Ukrainian efforts to go across this particular area of Ukraine.